Why hello there. I think the best news I can possibly give to you about myself recently is that I've now been approved for a Tier 1 Exceptional Talent Visa. Which, if you don't know, means I can stay in the UK and live and work and play for up to 5 years and then get my citizenship, and everything is basically sunshine and rainbows. I don't have to worry about any more job stress, about losing jobs and oh no, I'm gonna get kicked out of the country. None of that's ever gonna happen again. Everything is fine. Everything is great. It took me a lot of effort and work, but it is now all paid off. Thank you for everyone that's been keeping up to date. However, some of you may be like, Evan, despite this, you still don't have a job though, do you, eh? And I'm like, no. However, that's led me to remember all of the amazingly, terribly embarrassing interviews that I've gone throughout my life. And because on this channel I like to tell stories, embarrassing myself and letting you guys witness that and cringe with me, that is what I'm going to do today. So without further ado, let's get into the stories. When I was a young lad at the age of 16, I used to live in the middle of nowhere, or where I'm from, we'd call it the middle of East Jabipsville. It's just a New Jersey expression, it means the middle of nowhere. So I lived with more cows and horses and farms than the people. I didn't really have any neighbors. However, we did have this one amenity that made the town the best town ever. And that was a Wawa. And if you're from New Jersey, you know what I'm going to talk about before you even get into it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you haven't seen my travel vlogs, or I just went to DC and went to Wawa recently and it was like, Wawa is basically just a convenience store, except instead of some random person helping you, it's Jesus. And they make you the most delicious hoagies in the world, and it's the best thing. And if you're from South Jersey, it is a mark of heritage to love this store. And so I had a Wawa in my town. It was a 3.5 to 4 mile trip away, and because I felt like I was the only 17-year-old boy that didn't have a car, I would have to walk or bike if I wanted to get the delicious hoagie treats that they had served. But, lucky for me, 16-year-old Evan, I had gotten an interview at Wawa. Best place ever. I was imagining eating lunch and eating a hoagie every day. It was so exciting. So, the day came for my interview at Wawa, and I asked my mom, I said, Mom, do I take a left at Route 77? And she said, right. Which, I mean, she could have said correct, but I picked it up as take a right. So, here I am, on my little bicycle, and I'm riding up to Route 77, and I just take a right. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. At this point, I'm biking for about 15 to 20 minutes. The interview is supposed to be in 5 minutes, and the part of my head's like, turn around, bro, you're going the wrong way, and the other half is like, just keep going, it's gotta be here. I mean, if you're going the right way, you're gonna get there. I couldn't remember because I'm so bad with directions, and so I see this farmer tending to a freaking fence on the side of the road, and I went, Sir, is there a Wawa? Like, how much further is it to the Wawa? And he went, I reckon that Wawa about 4 miles that way. 4 miles? And so at this point I had to turn around. I was like, I just came from that direction. I almost biked to another town. And so I turn around, I start biking to this Wawa, except the sky decided it was just gonna open up on me. So then it starts pouring rain. I hear thunder. I'm riding a metal bicycle thinking I'm gonna be electrocuted. I finally roll up to this Wawa about a half hour late, drenched, looking like a wet soppy cat. And then I met with the store manager. He says, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Mr. Meiswinkle. I shouldn't laugh at someone's name, especially when you're a half hour late for the interview. But I couldn't help it. Meiswinkle. I'm sorry if your last name is Meiswinkle and maybe you're just like, I deal with this my entire life. But I couldn't. I mean, maybe I could have salvaged this interview in any way if I hadn't greeted the guy by shaking his hand, sopping wet, and half hour late going, nice to meet you, Mr. Meiswinkle. Now, the interview was a standard retail interview, and no, I did not get the profession. I didn't get the career. I didn't get the job of my lifetime working at Wawa. But I did learn that you take a left to get to the Wawa. And you know what? I never missed a chance to go there ever again, despite the fact that I never saw Mr. Meiswinkle again. So that was my first real-life experience at a job interview, and yes, it was terrible to start, but of course you get better at these things when you get older, right? Well, after I graduated from university and I had no clue what to do with my life, I figured maybe I can work in the city of Philadelphia. There was a job that needed people that were really good at math, and I was like, that's me, got the degree. I somehow was able to get a job interview over the phone. I was very excited about this, and they give me a call, I'm going over this stuff, and then he asked me the most simplest mathematical question. He was like, what's 40% of 160? Now, some of you are like, that's not simple, but for someone of my degree, I definitely should find that very simple. And all he wanted was for me to explain how to find the answer to this problem over the phone. And even though I'd already known it was going to be a question like this, I was just like, so 40% is like the number 42, the meaning of everything, life. 40 is like 4 over 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1. I was just making up math. What happened to my math brain? I froze up. I don't like phone interviews. If I can meet you in person, that is so much better. But phone interviews, I freak out about, and it's very upsetting. What I really should have done is just said 40% is just 2/5 or 4/10, and then you do 4 times 16. Simple. 32 times 2 is 64. Duh. You're all like, duh. However, I didn't get that, and he ended up saying, well, that was nice. You didn't pass the stage. I went, okay. I learned my lesson. I did have another interview in the city the next week, and this one said, dress for business. Okay. Now, I didn't know what that meant. I looked up what business meant, and I went, I guess I wore one of these type of shirts. I had a tie on, and I wore some khakis, because khakis are classy, okay? Wearing some nice white khakis. Turns out, khakis were not business enough, okay? I came in with the brain, with the confidence. I was ready to get this job. And the secretary turned me away and said, I'm sorry, but the interview said you have to be wearing business clothing. And I went, what is wrong with this? And she said, you're wearing some khakis? We wanted some slackies. By that she meant slacks. And I went, what, really? Does that really matter in the end of the day? I'm here for the interview and you're gonna turn me down because I'm not wearing the right pants? I don't even know what slacks are. She says they're suit bottoms. Khakis could be suit bottoms if I was wearing a beige suit. I got turned away and I did not want to go interview with that place ever again. Screw them. I don't want to work for a company where I have to wear a suit all the time. So at this point, you're probably like, Evan, I see why you don't have a job. Jesus Christ, do you not know how to freaking interview? Hey, I got better and I stopped interviewing for places that really weren't a match for me. For the most part, startups in London are very easy to interview with. You kind of just wear, like what I'm wearing right now. You can wear jeans and just, you're supposed to basically look like a hipster, I guess. I go in wearing my Ravenclaw jumper. It usually works out. I wore a blazer to my last one, which was the second stage, and that turned out pretty good. Third stage coming up next week. How exciting. But I did have one of those dreadful phone interviews this week, and I definitely rate it as the worst interview I've ever had. I hope that this guy is never going to forget this interview because that's how bad it was to me. So I get a call about 9 in the morning. It wakes me up and I get it. I'm like, hello? And they're like, hello? This is company with the interview. Are you okay to interview? And I went, yeah, I'm totally, I'm ready. I'm good to go. Let's do this. And he was like, okay, so first question for you. So why do you think you'd be a good fit for this role at company? And at this point, I realized I didn't really know what the role was. Usually I apply to roles that are very specific and niche for my skill set, but this one I think was one of those on LinkedIn I just kind of went crazy with. So I was frantically like stalling and talking while looking on the internet to see what this role was that I applied for, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it in my email. I couldn't find it anywhere. And so eventually I was just like, where is this role information? And he went, I'm sorry. And I went, yeah, like, what does this role entail? At this point, he's trying to describe the role to me, and I'd already realized there's no chance in heck I'm going to get this job. And so I tried to hang up on him, but the phone was in that mode where you can't hang up with your finger. And he heard me booping around. I was like, are you okay? And I went, yeah. So at this point, I have to be committed. I'm going to have to deal with the rest of this interview. I had other things I could do. I could have been, I don't know, making a YouTube video or something, but I just kept going. And he was like, okay. He told me the rest of the role. I went, oh yeah, that's totally good. I'm totally good for that. I'm good at business. And then he asked me the next question. Can you give me one example of when you've gone far beyond what your job spec is to do something outside of your role? And I went, well, I mean, for the most part, at my last role, which was head of acquisition, anything would have been, part of my job spec, because even if I wasn't told to do it, I mean, I told myself things, I was kind of the boss of that stuff, it did have to deal with acquisition, so like, that is my job, so in essence, everything is my job, and therefore I'll take on everything. And he went, so you can't give me one example of how you did something that wasn't on your job spec? And I went, no, I really can't. And he went, I think I'm going to end the interview there. And I went, oh, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. And he went, you have a nice day, sir. I went, you too. And I hung up. Oh my God. I'm sure that guy will never, I'm hoping he's had worse, maybe. But for me, that was laughably the worst interview I've ever had in my entire life. And you know what? I didn't want to work for that company. I didn't want to have that role. I don't even know why I applied. I really need to save my efforts for jobs that I know I'm going to be good at. And I want to get a good job that I can stay at forever. But that was my worst interview. I hope you've enjoyed this embarrassing story. If you've had other embarrassing interviews that are worse than mine, please tell me below, genuinely, because that'd be fun to laugh at you instead of me. It's always me. Stop laughing at me. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give it a like below, and also subscribe if you want to hear more cringy, awkward stories, because I make new videos every Sunday. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next week. Goodbye. Where were the puns in this video? There were no puns. I mean, I'm not a dancing monkey. However, next week, guys, is my Ask Evan. It's gonna be my first Spawn video as well, if you're into Spawn videos. Who's into Spawn videos? I love those. I only watch the Spawn ones. But I am doing a Ask Evan, so if you have any extra questions besides the Twitter hashtag I'll be doing later this week, please leave them below. And without further ado, I'm gonna be in Australia all next week. I'll talk to you soon, bye. That's the best way I can describe it. If you're from New Jersey, you're definitely on the same page as me. If you're not, you're like, wah, wah. Okay, was that a pun? I appreciate it.